Holy moly! Holy crap! Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching, Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. Pickman's Model.
Episode 5.
Episode 5. What do you think? What did you think?
I liked looking at Ben Barnes for an hour.
I liked it. I did. It was a lot.
Yeah. I'm not wild about HP Lovecraft.
I don't like HP Lovecraft because I find it effective. I think it's good, and it scares me more than many things.
Okay.
Because I can wrap my mind around Satan or Lucifer or the devil or demons.
But not just like various hell beasts.
Chaos entities. Yeah. Because I know Yog Sothoth. It's Sothoth, Yog.
Let's try not to say it exactly right. It's fine.
Beelzebub. It's a chaos, or it's an outer god, I think, maybe. It's like, they call it the gate. So I know a lot about gods and monsters, but I've never fully, like, a lot of people are like HP Lovecraft fans. They know all about it. And it's like, I know a little bit about a lot of things. And so I think it's Cthulhu's father.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't think it was whatever crawled out of the sewer at the end.
So gross.
It was so effective, though. Like, it genuinely unnerved me. Okay, I don't know. So this one was pretty. There were pretty people in it. It was aesthetically pleasing. If I have a criticism of this show, we're really, there's not a wealth of female characters.
That's true.
Each episode, except for the makeover one, because that's the lady story, has really only had one female character. It's fine. It certainly is traditional. It certainly is. I mean, if they're pulling from, which this is, like, I'm fairly certain, a story.
Yes, it is an HP Lovecraft story.
I also think we just watched it, came in here, so I didn't have time to research, but I think it's the basis of that Chilling Adventures of Sabrina episode.
After you explained what you were talking about, I think you're right. This was like a one where you were right on the money, and I was like, where the fuck are we going with this? I was like, I don't like it.
Well, I was really, really hoping and praying we were going somewhere sexy.
Somewhere sexy with Ben Barnes and Crispin Glover.
It threatened us with it a handful of times. There needed to be, well, because it was pinging my Dorian Gray for obvious reasons, the least of which is Ben Barnes. But I was like, come on. I wanted a kiss or something. I wanted some kind of psychosexual, like,
because they seemed weirdly obsessed with each other, but also not at the same time. It was a little blue balls all around.
I did like it. It's also it is a concept that's thrown around in horror, as we have done several times. American Horror Stories attempted in season 1, where it was the movie that drives people crazy.
Oh yeah.
I do find it interesting. I find it intriguing. I think it was fairly well rendered here. Yeah. I think the paintings were eerie enough.
They were absolutely. They looked like those like really dark Caravaggio.
So I remember my mom had a Edgar Allan Poe book, because she went through an Edgar Allan Poe phase when she was like in high school or 20 or something. And I remember being like 4 and 5 and 6 and like sneaking it, because one of the pages there was an orgy and it had like a pencil illustration of it. And I came for the boobs, but I ended up staying because I couldn't pry myself away from the macabre.
Yeah.
And like, so many of the images, like, I can't think of the name of it. The one that cements himself into the...
he doesn't cement himself. He gets cemented in. The cask of Amontillado, I think. Yeah.
That image is seared.
I'm sorry, I was not an English major.
That image is seared in my head. There's several of them. And so this was picking at that brain string. Yeah, like it was a mandolin on its last leg.
I felt some Edgar Allan Poe in there. I get that.
The plot, Ben Barnes, good or not? He's good.
He's good. I like
he's good.
Him.
Okay, he's very, very cute. Very good to look at.
Cute is like the least of the things he is. He's So sexy.
Crispin Glover looked good too, because he's got to be.
He's 58.
I was about to say, because your husband made a joke when they were sitting down in their like art school, because they were sort of talking or acting like they were boys, and Will was like, "My dude is 41."
Ben Barnes is 41.
And I was like, Ben, he can play young, boyish. He's boyish.
He has kind of an impish face.
And then, as we find, a time jump was part of it, and so it was like he was 21 going on 40, and then 40 also, going on 60.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, though, is it didn't necessarily feel like it was a like straight out of high school, college art program, because Crispin Glover can in no universe pass for college age. And he was there as well as a student. So I think it was sort of like just an elective, like a, intramural painting, if you will.
Considering that I was the most pulled in by this one, because like I said, I found it aesthetically, and I was the most interested by it from an actual place. Like I was a little bit seduced by it, in all honesty. I have a few issues. I think it was odd that it was sort of in 2 acts, like 2 time periods, because it seems like these men meet in art school, have 1 or 2 strange interactions, don't talk for 30 years, and we're meant to believe that they're like that
17 years.
Okay, that they have this like lifelong connection.
Yeah. Well, and it also is like, obviously Crispin Glover must know that his paintings are doing this because he has that pit in his basement and everything. But it seems
like he was protecting.
Will. Yes, that. But also, I just like don't. Will obviously knows as well, so it seems very like you both know the thing that you're dancing around. Just like talk about it.
Which this doesn't give me something gay.
Yeah,
like, give us a blatant like metaphor or like I don't know. I really wanted.
It's HP Lovecraft, and he was not a good man. So like I'm 100% sure there's no gay stuff in his art.
I just sort of like I wanted Crispin Glover to be in love with Ben Barnes.
And that's why he's protecting him?
Yeah, or I wanted an unrequited, or I wanted something just a hair more psychosexual than we got. And maybe it's because we opened the episode with titties that I just sort of...
We did open with titties.
It sprung me, but... because we've had a lot of open-ended elements to all of these episodes.
Yeah.
But I just did have questions, like what was with the witchy woman with the, like, toxic breasts.
Oh yeah, that Rebecca's father was.
What was that actually? Because that's what I was waiting for. I was like, is this an Illuminati thing that they're all part of this cult? And why? What did he see? Like, because it was very odd to me that it ended poorly. Like he showed up to her party and she was very mad about it, and then in the next scene, 17 years later, they're happily married with a kid. And I was sort of like, I needed a little bit more. I wish that they had this dance. I wish that Will and who is Crispin Glover?
Richard, I think.
Yeah, because he's not listed here.
That's he's you have to click all the way through. Richard Upton Pickman.
Pickman. I wish that they had this sort of lifelong.
Sure. He was just very flirtatiously calling him Dickie the whole time. I'm just like, come on, like pull that clip of Daddy's Boy from Kimmy Schmidt. Like you're killing me.
And because it was very interesting to me how they stuck with Will, like the scene when he was with a dream about Pickman's like great grandmother.
Yeah, great grandmother's great grandmother. Sure.
And then when he was walking through the graveyard and the things were like sort of
coming out from behind the bushes.
It's weird. Yeah. It's very weird that my main critique of this episode is going to be I needed more.
Sure,
it did a lot.
It was a lot.
But I think I wanted a little bit more. I think I wanted.
I think it should have been tighter in some way because it really still felt like it was like that needed one more pass of writing.
I wanted it to feel like a lifelong psychosexual
like
affair and less like that guy that showed up in my life twice and weird things happen, but then the interim was fine.
Yeah, because it really was. He came back around and there was like the paint. It was like they hadn't seen each other since school. He came back around. There was a new painting and his son was there. And like literally immediately he was like, I'm going to shoot him. And he went over.
Well, the dinner scene, because he had kind of seduced Rebecca. Yeah. Rebecca was confusing to me as well.
They also had apparently, because that goes back to your thing as well. And I think a little bit mine where I just like there needs to be a little more fleshing out, is that she talked about them doing fucking seances in school. And like one time she went blind and then she went blind and she cut her eyeballs out. But
I think I wish it was a feature.
Sure. Yeah.
It was a 2-act and there needed to be a third
an extra,
because I liked it. I found it effective. I found it interesting. And I already used the word seduced, but also repulsed several times throughout it.
Yeah.
And if you're actually chronicling it, like it.
Oh, that guy was Rasputin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were like various.
Yeah. I was like, that dude looks like Rasputin.
Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. Yeah, I don't, because I do sort of want to know what Pickman's deal. They said something about his mother went mad, right?
Yeah.
So it had to have been like a familial.
Maybe it is generational from the witch from Livonia, who like started this whole. Maybe their whole family is sort of cursed with it.
But I want a reason for why he was passing it on to Will, especially if they didn't have a weird.
I agree.
Because he shot Pickman, and that thing.
Dragged his body,
came and got him,
and everything was burning down. And then the next morning, his buddy Joe had like hung up all the paintings that burned somehow in the gallery,
and then cut his face up,
and then he thought he had gotten his son and his wife like out in time, but then she was chopping off her fingers.
I thought it was very effective when he came running to them and they were just sort of looking at the painting.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting for them to be like Ark of the Covenant, like, ah! Yeah. But they were just sort of staring at it. And he like pulls her aside and she's like,
yeah.
I thought it was nice.
Yeah.
And then later, like, she was a little slack-jawed. And then later in the kitchen, that was, because she was cutting and I was like, she's cutting her fingers.
It's so interesting to me that like, what kind of gallery is this? No one's gonna show hang those paintings.
Well, they seemed, it seemed like it was I don't know.
Yeah, it seemed like an accident. Like it, like
no,
that
but I mean, like the
normally...
paintings were like people were being seduced by it.
Yeah.
So the paintings were acquiring souls. I don't know.
Zoinks.
So anyways, Rebecca cooked the kid and
just his head. Weirdly, I feel like that's where the least of the good eating is.
Well,
a small child.
Lavinia had beheaded.
No, I know. So it was the tableau from the painting. I'm being a dick.
I think we're gonna go watch the next one. I'm not gonna lie. I need a break.
Yeah, I'm tired.
We might finish this weekend.
We'll see.
You'll find out whenever you're watching.
Whenever you're watching this, you'll find out.
I'm at saturation point.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's very. I like that it's on separate nights. If God help me, if this had come out all on one day, but I do kind of wish it was weekly, like the Fear Street movies.
And in spite of my criticism, I enjoyed this one.
Me too.
Like I said, I think it was my favorite one to look at, my favorite one to sort of watch. Because what was The Witch at the Party? Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna cut myself off. Directed by Keith Thomas. Did a good job. So
Bye.